Welcome, gang. Breaking news. Let's start off with Iran war, then work down to $9 gas prices per gallon, like I predicted a couple of months ago was coming. The dollar inflation that's killing us, you and me and everyone else we know, and the U.S. economy is literally dying. Okay, so where should we start? Let's go ahead and start with the gas prices. Okay. Now, one thing I want you to think about is that no matter if there is a war, if there's not, by just the fear of war, what has happened to the gas prices that have increased. Okay. So very, very soon, I predicted about a couple of months ago that we'll have gas prices be about $9 per gallon. Okay. And the insight came to me, and I decided to do a video about it, put my neck out there. And guess what? A couple of months later, there's news of war, and gas prices are already seen increase. So who really benefits when gas prices go up? Well, think about who are the people that benefit? The big corporations like Exxon and etc. that have been monopolies that have been broken down from Standard Oil to all these little parent companies. They benefit. Okay. Now, who benefits from war? Well, think about it. Who benefits from that? Because like my friends that are in the army or in the navy, they don't benefit. They're actually going to lose their lives, right? Who benefits from war? I'll tell you what. How much does the tank cost? How much does the airline cost? How much does the bullets cost? How much does the missiles cost? Once you realize that one airplane ticket costs billions of dollars, then you'll scratch your head and say, look, we have all these problems at home. We have majority of our troops coming back and committing suicide. Suicide is so high, right? We have Social Security going bust, which means that me and you have paid into the system, and now it's going bust. You look around and you see that majority of people in America are obese because all this fake food. You look around and you see that majority of people in America have college degrees and they need to have a second job to pay their income. So I mean, I'm not the smartest guy or the smartest tool in the toolbox, but I can tell you this that, well, if I had the options of, helping out the vets or, helping out the homeless people or not having so much inflation versus building a jet fighter plane that Halliburton gets billions of dollars for, well, I would prefer to go that way because for the past, I don't know how many years and how many decades, no one's knocking on our door that wants to go into war with us. No one's trying to invade our backyard. The truth, the fact is, the big corporations are lobbying politicians, and we have bases all over the world. We're in wars with so many different countries, and I think that we should use that money to help our people out. I mean, you have parts of America, the water is so nasty that the people can't even drink, right? You have so much violence on, immigrants, black people, Hispanic people with the police. Maybe we should use some of that money for education, let's say. Um, Again, you have poverty, people with college degrees, you know, that live in their cars in California and other cities that are high in price. People with college degrees that having two jobs or three jobs. So I think that instead of spending that money aboard buying airplanes or missiles or whatever, and Halliburton and Lockheed Martin executives are able to have lavish lives, why don't we use that money at home? Because no one's invading us, right? No one's invading America, right? I mean, like right now in Iran, here's America, here's Iran, all the way over there, and we have our ships over there. So no one's knocking in our backyard trying to invade us. So we're basically becoming the world's bully because we have the world's biggest, military. And so that's what happens. Like the more we spend in military, the more we want to flex our muscles, which causes more enslavement of me and you through taxation, to inflation, to wars, to price of things going up. And who wants that, right? I mean, I don't want that. I'm sure you don't want that. If you have your kids in the Navy or the military, you don't want them to come back in body bags. Now, it's a different story if someone's invading our home, right? Everyone will get up and go participate, but no one's invading our territory. And this is just done because big corporations lobby for more mother of all bombs to be dropped so they make big money and realize that that's big money. And the other thing is that the Federal Reserve with their central bankers with their printing of just endless money funding the war machine has created significant suffering from, again, vets that come back and they're committing suicide like crazy, all the way down to people that have mom and dad, they work all the time and they still can't provide for their families, they have to get into debt, to college educated students come out of school and they can't find a good job to pay off their student loans. So we have all these problems at home, and I don't think that we should be looking to bully other countries. When why don't we become the leaders by love and kindness versus the bullying and the gun, right? I mean, like, if you're very powerful, then the best thing is to show the world that how great you are and how people should join your way of thinking versus putting a gun to their head or bombing them with all mothers of guns or whatever mother of bombs and wasting our taxpayers' money versus helping the vets, helping the homeless, Social Security. I mean, I think that all these years I paid in Social Security. I'm sure you've paid in Social Security. Your cousin has paid. Your mother's paid. Your grandpa's paid, and it's going bankrupt, right? They'll still give you the check, but inflation is going to be so much that your buying power is going to be zero. Okay, now let's talk about war with Iran, right? I love America. I'm so happy to be here. It's the greatest country, but I don't like the foreign policies that we have where we're invaded so many countries in the past 7 to 10 years, guys. I lost track of all the countries we're at war with, from Afghanistan, Iraq, Lebanon. I mean, all these countries we overthrown, and I don't think we should be the world's police. I think we should, be the leader and let the world try to mimic us, just like they do with Hollywood. Like all the parts of the world you go to, from India to Pakistan to Iran, everyone wants to be like Americans. They want to, dye their hair blonde and put fake eyes in so they have green eyes and all the stuff, right? They want to be like Americans, and so why don't we be the leaders by doing the right things and allow all these other countries just to mimic us versus being the bully, because what that's creating is a win-win situation for everyone. No one wants terrorists, no one wants non-democracy, but what's happening in our own country, we're losing our democracies, right? We have the deep state or the military complex, we're at war everywhere, right? I mean, the money's going there. We're spending billions of dollars for airplanes versus your school's education, right? Your kids' education, or your better livelihood, or building better roads, or building better infrastructure. Okay, so America's here, Iran's there, we're right in their backyard, right? And there's a good chance that there may be war. Okay, and if there is war, there's a good chance there may be World War III. Okay, because you have Iran that's standing up to America. I mean, most countries are not willing to stand up to America. Like, you don't, for example, Canada, they're not going to stand up to America. They just arrested the leader of, the CEO of the telephone company, Huawei, whatever it's called, right? They're not going to stand up. Great Britain's not going to stand up to them. So Iran is saying, no, dude, you withdrew from this nuclear deal, and we're not going to come to the table. Well, Russia, at the same time, they're not bowing down to America. Neither is China, right? Many other countries around the world, America can put their thumb on them, but some countries and some people are not going to just bow down forever. So we have three nations, right? Some with nuclear bombs that are not going to bow down, and we can easily lead into a World War III where thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people get wiped out. Just look at D-Day, right? Who wants that, dude? For what? Why do we want to kill millions of Americans and millions of other innocent people? For what? Think about it. Why do we need to do that? Because to protect our interest. I mean, what is our interest? Big corporations making a lot of money, like Exxon making a lot of money when gas prices go up. That's our interest. big corporations like Boeing and Lockheed Martin make billions and trillions of dollars by, dropping bombs. That's our interest. That's not our interest, man. How is that in our interest for the average working class American? How is the interest for lower middle class? Okay, that's not our interest. And guess what? We're very, very close to World War III, and it's not a funny matter at all because the economy is dying in America, right? We have tariffs. It's just killing people. We have so many people in debt, just killing people. We have debt in student debt. We have credit card debt. We have mortgage debt. We have cars that we haven't paid for. The middle class is getting wiped out. How much longer can the middle class take this? Okay, So now let's talk about the inflation. The Fed is constantly printing money, guys. Okay, they're constantly printing money. In reality, they're just constantly giving out loans. The more loans they give, the more money is created. Interest rate has just been dropped. The Federal Reserve just dropped the interest rate. Interest rate is the all-time low in the history of America. I don't know how to say it. Listen, it's never been this low ever. It's now about to go to zero and then negative. Let me say that again. Have you ever heard interest rate being negative? What does that mean? Well, that means that when I go into my banking account, the bank's gonna charge me money on top of the monthly fee they charge me, the statement fee they charge me, right? Now they're gonna charge me a percentage just to keep my money there. Remember, there used to be a time in America where the banks gave you money. Do you remember that? I mean, guys, remember like the goal was that when I first came to America, it's, because interest rates were so high that with $1 million in your bank account, you could live off that, right? Just interest, a modest life. Today, it's not like that. Now, if you have $1 million in your banking account, you're gonna have to pay the bankers soon for them keeping your money. I mean, that's the most bogus thing I ever heard. So the bankers get to use your money to make money. They're gonna charge you for keeping your money in there. Come on, dude. Come on. I mean, think about what I'm saying. Interest rates at the all-time low. Now, think about it. Please think about it. If the economy is going as great as Big Brother says it is, if it's going as great as the Federal Reserve says it is, why are they lowering the interest rate? Come on, man. It doesn't take a genius. Why are they lowering the interest rate? Right? Because the economy is dying. The economy is dying. For example, you're not gonna just if your heart was working good, you're not gonna take you to the ER and put the electrical device on you and pop you, shock you. They're not gonna do that because it damages your organs, right? Same thing with the economy. If the economy was doing good, we wouldn't have to shock it with almost 0% interest rate. The economy is dying, man. Okay, why is it dying? Well, it's complex, but let me simplify it. The very first thing is that Big Brother made such a tough laws that all the corporations like Apple, AT&T, Verizon, they all decided to take their production to China and other countries because it was cheaper. Because regulation was so tough in America. Why? Because you can see it on YouTube. Some kids selling ice cream or lemonade, the police goes and beats them up on top of their head, says, oh, do you have a permit to sell lemonade? So regulation is so tough that it's hard for small business or big corporations to make money. So all the companies went to India, Pakistan, China for production. Now we're mad that China is producing everything. Well, we caused it, dude. I mean, what do you mean? We made the corporations to go out there. We made GMC Ford go out there to those other countries. Now we're mad that China is the powerhouse of production, and we don't have production in America anymore. We don't have steels. They don't make cars here no more. I mean, we don't have Detroit. We're mad about that. Well, why are we mad at China? Why are we not mad at ourselves? We're the one that caused the situation. We want to be a consumer economy. We want it just to be a consumption, just consume all the time. Because through debt, we can prop up our economy and say, look, we're all doing real good. Well, because of that idea, and because of regulations of laws that made almost impossible for a business to start or be competitive in America, corporations went out to China and other countries. Now China is becoming the powerhouse of production, from TVs to your phone to your cars to whatever you could imagine, solar panel you could imagine. Now we're mad at China. Why are we mad at China? We're the one that causes problem. We should be mad of central bankers, the Federal Reserve, the lawmakers, and us. Because why do people go to Walmart to buy something? Because they want the cheapest thing. Why do they want the cheapest thing? Because we have so much inflation that people can't afford to live. So they need the cheapest thing and put it on debt. So it's basically a circle that we created ourselves. Right? We can't blame China for being the massive production because we give them all the business. We put all the factories there, from Apple and so on and so on and so on. Right? So why are we mad at them? Because they took the business, now they're the powerhouse. Why are we not mad at Wall Street? Now, what we do in America really good is basically two things. We don't produce stuff no more. We don't produce shoes or cars. We don't do none of that stuff. We don't. Everything is outsourced, right? We do two things really good. One, we know how to produce debt instruments, right? Debt instruments, like mortgage-backed securities and so on, right? Derivatives. We're really good at that. Wall Street knows how to do that, right? And the other thing we produce in America is debt. Just debt. You got to get into debt. If you're a consumer, you got to get into debt. If you're a student, you got to get into debt. If you want to get a car, get into debt. If you want to get a business, get into debt. Get into debt. That's the only two things we're producing anymore. Debt and debt instruments. Okay? No one's making cars here anymore, right? Very little, besides Tesla, if I'm not mistaken. Very little companies do that. No one's making shoes or manufacturing here anymore. Very little. Because A, people can't afford to pay for it because they'd rather buy the Chinese made stuff. Because too much inflation, cost of goods is constantly going up and salaries are not. So simply put, inflation's in America like crazy. Like crazy. Back in 2000, well, in the 1970s, you could buy an entry-level home, a medium-level home, for $24,000. Today, that's $240,000 for the same exact home. Well, guess what? Salaries didn't increase that much. So we're in a situation where we have massive inflation. The U.S. economic is very, very sick. They're not telling you on stream media. They're not. Big Brother ain't telling you. The Federal Reserve is not telling you. Okay, J.P. Morgan, the two big bang, fell bangs. All these guys that have interest in the banking system, like Warren Buffett, they're not telling you, right? They're not telling you. But the economy is sick. It is so sick, it's about to die. And now we need war to reset this, or we need to get other people's assets, like Iran's gas and oil, Venezuela's gas and oil. We need those things because we're broke, right? We have so much debt in America, not only at the federal level, at the state level, at the local level, at the corporate level, at the people level. We're just a debt-based economy. We're not producing anything, and so we're in trouble. So we need other people's resources, like we need the gold of Venezuela. That's why we hijacked it, right? We need the the oil of Venezuela. We need the oil of Iran. We need these natural resources because guess what? Do you know how much we consume in oil every month or every day? Dude, everyone in America almost has a car, right? So imagine what's going to happen when gas prices go to $9 a gallon, okay? Man, I mean, it's just going to crumble. It's going to crumble the economy. And this is not what I want. So I see two things, like I've been forecasting it. We're going to have a massive recession and the people are going to really feel it. Or we're going to have civil unrest. And civil unrest can be riots in the streets or war, World III. But the powers that be want the war, and that's why we are in that phase. Okay, I don't like war. I love peace. I don't want to have trade wars. That's like dinosaur stuff. We're in the era of internet where I could talk to someone in a different state, in a different country. We're in the era of Bitcoin where money can be transferred borderlessly. We're not in the era of horsey and buckets, and Civil War age, where we're in the tariff age, and tariff wars lead to real world war, and it's been proven through history over and over. And to have peace, you got to have free trade. When free trade is gone away, and countries are put in sanctions and they're put into corners. I don't like Iran government at all. I was born in Iran. That's why I'm here in America. But I also don't want war either for any country. And guess what? I think we're heading to war, guys, or to major suffering in America. Either way, it's going to be economic, or it's going to be with blood. And that's what I call it: civil unrest, or massive depression worse than the 1930s. And there's no other way, okay? Because we have too much debt. We don't produce anything here anymore. Very, very little. Everything's already been outsourced to Mexico, India, and with the tariffs, we're just choking the last breath, right? The last breath of lower class Americans, middle class Americans, and then when that goes, then the foundation is going to have trembled, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching, guys. Click the like button. Let me know your thoughts about, do you think there's going to be a war? Last but not least, guys, I only have 3 more seats for my profit sharing coaching. The price is going up from $83 to $200 a month. So be one of the early birds. We only have 3 seats. Get more information on it, go to MrNoFluff.com. Much love. See you later.